From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big home here on LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In this home and home stream stimulus recording, we go over the incredible great news about your recon, the Build Back Better Act, the CR for Stimulus 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0 that all have breaking news today. Then we'll go over the repurposing of money that Joe Biden can do and the big money for SS200, all direct from Santa Monica, California today. But you know what home and you know what street and stimulus is about. It's also about your decor, your beauty, and also your stomach. And today's recording, we go over the most anticipated entree of the year. Not SS200, chocolate cake. Chocolate cake. People have been asking me every single day in a gazillion private messages, do you have that recipe? Well, today you're going to get the recipe. Sugar-free chocolate cake. Make it at home. It's the most delicious thing you're ever going to have. It's decadent. It's rich. It's easy. It's breezy. It's fun. It's fun to make. It can go out faster than a stimulus check. And guess what? You don't have to repurpose anything. I'm going to show you how to use all the money that is of all the ingredients that you already have in the kitchen. It's a great recording. It's the one you've been asking for weeks. And here you go. Your incredible money and your chocolateness all in one recording. It's a great day as Home LA heats up direct and live from Santa Monica, California, and the deliciousness, true deliciousness, of Home LA starts right here, right now, as a big, delicious chocolate cake and stimulus recording gets underway this big, bold, beautiful day, and the excitement starts any moment, just as soon as all the ingredients get in hand. And the ingredients are in hand. Here we go. It's a big, bold, beautiful day, and the excitement starts direct from Santa Monica, California, right here, right now, as a big recording of all this incredible deliciousness heats up. And boy, we don't have to advocate for anything. We just have to advocate for chocolate cake. Then we're ready to rock and roll. And the excitement starts right here, right now, across the board. When you look at all this incredible money of this big, bold, big, beautiful Build Back Better Act, there is 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons. Let's look at all the incredible money in that Build Back Better Act. 3 clusters, 3 add-ons, and the incredible money at hand is spread across those 3 clusters and 3 add-ons, giving you about $60,000 of checks. Let's look at all the incredible money in there, and we start at the first cluster. Wow, a lot of money and a lot of details and a lot of deliciousness. And it starts with that first cluster. Here we go. Hazard pay got in there for my essential workers and $4,000 of elder care for my caring for my seniors. They got in there the Pell Grant, $550 check, the $12,500 for the purchase of new electric vehicle. Then they got in there the $3,600 for the incredible CTC one more year. They also got in their home repairs for people in low-income community across the board. This incredible Build Back Better Act has lots of checks, upwards of about $15,000, but potentially as high as $60,000. There are several add-ons of checks, no less than 3 of them. Let's turn to the first one, the one that makes viewers so excited, $25,000, just a little bit less, for purchase of your first home. This is money given from the seller to the seller from the federal government at the time of escrow. Wow, they got it in there. And yeah, there we go. Let's turn to that second cluster of checks, home repairs and paid leave. Wow, incredible. The home repairs is to weatherize your home, and the paid leave is a lot of money, folks, a lot of it. How much money? $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, then it's $800 a week. If you make $15,000 or more per year, it's $400 a week. Wow, that is incredible. And that's 4 to 6 weeks per year. Oh my goodness. So that's about $4,000 to $6,000 a year. W-2, 1099, you all get this incredible money. And if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, then you're going to get the check as part of the household if the child has to take off from work to take you to the doctor. That is huge, and that got it in there. What's that second add-on of checks? I think you know what it is. Jump in the live chat and write the number. There you go. Someone just posted it. It's $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Got it in there from Bob Casey out of Pennsylvania. Again, this is free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Huge. Means Americans need this incredible money. Now let's turn to the then third cluster of checks. We're getting into real deliciousness land here. Here we go. Exciting, and the numbers are huge. Free internet, money for the seniors, the farmers, the independent contractors, the free school meals for all checks, and then the seniors getting 2 checks on the House side, 3 coming from the Senate side. On the House side, they got the Medicaid gap fix, and they also got the hearing aid checks. On the Senate side, the senators represent they're going to add in their dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. Huge across the board, which is par for the course of when we talk about that third add-on of checks. If you're in the live chat right now, write those 3 letters. I think you know what they are. MSC. What is MSC? Who gets it? What's the eligibility? How does it work, and when would they add it, and how does it tee up CR for stimulus? Let's go over all those incredible details if you're watching Home LALATE from Santa Monica, California. So the legislators represent to tens of thousands of viewers of the channel that MSC would be added by the senators. This is a monthly IRS stimulus check program where the checks go out from IRS on a monthly basis. It's in addition to what's in the recon of the Build Back Better Act that has many checks in there, upwards of $60,000 of checks. And these are checks that would go out from IRS. So who would get it? Eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check. Legislators told tens of thousands of viewers of this channel since the month of May. Single individual, $75,000 less, get it. Annual income. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get as well. Double it. Annual income. If you're a family of 4, you get it as well. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you would get it as well. Adult dependents would also get it. It's not income. It's not taxable. It's offered nationwide, not state by state. And it would go off the most recent tax return. So if that tax return had a direct deposit account on it, that's how you get paid. Otherwise, in the check in the mail. Then how much? Well, those legislators represent that the amount would be the following. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months, which then tees up the question of how do they get it in there? Where do they get it in there? And what is the breaking news? So you know what Home LALATE is about. It's a shortened recording where the first half is going over your stimulus. The second half is going over, in this case, chocolate cake. So let me go over how they get in there quickly with now less than 6 opportunities across the board. First, the Build Back Better Act. Subcommittee of the Senate. The Build Back Better Act is a reconciliation budget bill passed in December, now in the Senate. The senators would modify the legislation, the Senate subcommittee, send it to a Senate floor vote, then vote on it, then a 2-day vote-a-rama. That's opportunity number 1. Opportunity number 2 is using a CR for stimulus approach. We debuted it, I created it, I invented it in December 2020 and made American history. At the time, we were looking at second stimulus. We were going through 11 months of negotiations, no deal. And I said, we need something else. What was I looking for? The following motifs I was looking for. I wanted something that was bipartisan. I did not want a package, which is thousands of pages in length. I wanted something small, just a few hundred pages in length. And I wanted something that had an inherent deadline that would not roll over indefinitely. And then I found it in what we call a continuing resolution. Continuing resolution is a budget bill, has to be done every 6 to 12 months. Funds the federal government. Has a deadline. They can roll over a day, a few days, maybe a month, but not several months. Number 2, bipartisan. Number 3, it's small, just a few hundred pages. So I said, let's put it in there. Let's put that stimulus check in there in December 2020. I made the recording. I advocated the viewership of the channel, and we pushed. But immediately the criticism came in, and I was ready for it. The criticism said, it doesn't belong in there, LA, because this is money to run the federal government. I said, you're right, it doesn't belong in there, but that doesn't mean you can't put it in there. We've been doing this since the start of the pandemic, and in fact, we've been doing this since the history of Congress. Congress always passes legislation where there's provisions that don't belong in there that go in there. And during this pandemic, you've been doing this nonstop. You had a COVID relief bill that fed money to foreign military governments. You had a COVID relief bill that proposed to build a new FBI building. And you had another COVID relief bill that proposed to expand the Department of Treasury. You could certainly do this as well. And that's why I said, put it in there. And we advocated to it. And after a lot of wrangling, In December 2020, as the thick of the presidential election was upon us, they got it in there. For the first time on Home Ally, you're going to really see why CR for stimulus makes more important sense right today than even a month ago, and certainly mirrors 2020 right on point. I'm going to tell you to you right now. It's the midterm elections. You're going to see on Afternoons LA today, and certainly on Evenings LA today, that you're suddenly seeing this new era of bipartisanship. Why? Because they're working in their self-interest. The Democrats and Republicans both understand they need to pass economic legislation. Pass it, not just talk about it, not just propose something. Pass it so that they can go in the midterm election and say, I'm helping you as your political representative to get you economic relief. Guess what was the situation December 20? Presidential election just had ended, but there's two Senate races that were up for grabs. Georgia. Remember, the Georgia senator races were just a few weeks away. That's why they did CR for stimulus then, because I advocated for it, and they knew they had to win Georgia. Well, they still have to win those midterm elections, and that's why the element of support is happening right now. What is the update right now on CR 1, 2, 3, and 4.0? A lot of details. I'm going to give it to you right now. And it may be a lot. So tune into Afternoon to LA if I'm going too fast. First, CR for Stimulus 1.0, which is ours, inserting into the budget bill. The latest update on that is the following. The Democrats in the Senate believe they can get it done this month, the continuing resolution. So you want to advocate to Senator Patrick Leahy, Democrat, Vermont, and Senator Chuck Schumer, Democrat, New York, for three things. One, advocate that they do the CR this month, the continuing resolution. Two, advocate that they insert a stimulus check. And number three, say, I've had your back throughout all this Build Back Better Act negotiations of 11 months. You're going to get it done, but you're not going to get it done now. I need money. I've had your back. Send me money if you want my vote for the midterm elections. A new comments by Senator John Tester, Democrat, Montana, says that if Chuck, Leahy, Mitch McConnell, and another Republican agree upon the price tag for the whole for the continuing resolution, then it'll get done this week. Good. We're ready. We're ready to rock and roll. On the other side, the House did something I'm not particularly happy about, but I'm not grimacing about. The House did a stopgap, passed a stopgap. What does that mean? They want to kick the can to March. I'm not happy on that. Doesn't mean the senators are going to do it. Just the House has lined that up if the senators need it. That's CR for Stimulus 1.0. Number two, what is 2.0? 2.0 passed a week ago today. A week ago tomorrow, which is the House first of many economic recovery bills. Now, you may say, wait, they're passing new ones? Yeah. So this started with Pete Aguilar 2 weeks after I started advocating for CR for Stimulus, saying, hey, we support Build Back, but we need other economic recovery. We can't sit around and not have it. And he said he was going to pass one in less than 24 hours. He did. So last Friday it passed. The great news, as soon as he passed it in the Democratic House, the Republican senator said, you know what? I like what you're doing. We're doing our version in the Senate. We're going to merge them and work as a team to get them done quickly. Pinch me? Yeah, pinch me. It's just bipartisan. You've never seen on this channel for a very long time because they all want to look like they're helping the American people. CR for Stimulus 4.0, major update on that as well. This is the one where you're inserting it potentially into the Russian sanctions bill. The Russian sanctions bill, bipartisan, very, very bipartisan. Democrats are Bob Menendez. Republicans are Marco Rubio. Small, of course, a small bill. Time element, yeah, you need to sanction Vladimir Putin before they invade. And what is the update on this one? Bob Menendez is currently watching this like a purple hawk more than I even am. As Chuck Schumer announced the small short list of things he wants to get done before the President's Day weekend break, and this was not on it, the Russian sanctions bill. Bob Menendez is not happy with that, said he's not happy about it. So he's had a lot of meetings with Chuck, who's his closest friend, and say, Chuck, you got to get this done. You can't sanction Vladimir after he potentially invades. So that's the update on that. Meantime, does the president have other opportunities? He does. He has the opportunity to raise SS-200 lifetime. Yes. All the president has to do is pick up the phone and contact the Social Security head he put in after he fired Commissioner Saul A year ago on this channel, Commissioner Saul, of course, was the Social Security Administrator head under the Trump administration. Biden came in and fired him, put someone else in. All the president has to do is contact the latest head and say, you know what? Replace COLA with inflation. That'll give you more than $200 a month, not just 6 to 12 months as promised by Liz Warren and even Joe Biden. It will give you $200 more per month, lifetime. It's huge. Then, the President of the United States can repurpose money. And by repurposing money, he would use existing money from federal agencies where the programs have ended and the money is still there. Acts of Congress passed routinely, including COVID Acts of Congress, establish federal programs. The programs are funded, and then months pass and the programs are ended because that's what the law said, but the money's still there. So where does the money go? Nowhere, unless the president says where he wants it to go. All he has to do is pick up the phone. Again, does not need an executive order, does not need an act of Congress, does not need a recon. Say, send the money out. This is what he can do. This has all so far been done by both Trump and Biden. They've done both of these two things I've just covered in this recording. This would give you a lot of opportunities. So I know that's a lot in just a 5-minute fly-through. But Build Back Better Act will pass currently in the Senate. Gives you about $60,000 of checks. The way to get checks to you faster, sooner, in addition to it, not to replace, is a CR for stimulus path in which you use a smaller piece of legislation, small, bipartisan, and has an inherent deadline. You can use a continuing resolution, that's what we call CR, or you can use something other than continuing resolution. CR for stimulus 1 is using the CR that currently has a deadline of late February. 2, a brand new body of legislation like the one that passed in the House. 3, a brand new one like the one that's being worked up in the Senate. 3, or 4, something that's really not even an economic bill, just it fits the motif of what we're looking for, the Russian sanctions bill. Meantime, the President of the United States can come on in as well and get you economic relief with SS200. On Afternoons LA tonight and 3 o'clock at 5 o'clock evenings LA as well. I detail why SS has been around, SS200, for 2 years, and not one of these people has delivered you a penny. It's no bueno. Whether it's Liz Warren, Chuck, Ron Wyden, the President of the United States, they said it's an urgent situation. And how urgent is it? They delivered $0. So I'm going to show you how they can deliver the money right today and then how to repurpose the money. But after the commercial break, we're going to go over what you've been asking for as well. A sugar-free chocolate cake recipe. Yeah, I dropped in one of the comments on a previous home, street, and stimulus that I make a chocolate-free sugar-free chocolate cake all the time, and how easy breezy it is. And people have been sending me messages advocating advocate to LA for chocolate cake. So I promised all those viewers, and I promised you I'd make a recording. It's this recording, and in the second half of this video, I'm going to go over how to make it. Get your pen and paper ready, or get your hand ready to replay the video. You can always toggle back the video. And I'm going to show you the ingredients, how to make it. It's a lot of fun, and there's nothing more decadent. Those incredible details coming up after the commercial break. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Home LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as Home LA heats up from Santa Monica, California with your chocolate cake sugar-free recipe. If you're just tuning in, this is Home LA. The first half is about stimulus, and the second half is about home decor, food, beauty, and more. And in this recording that airs at 11 a.m. and at 7 o'clock daily, we tackle all that. It was over about a week ago where I was doing a video in this segment about cakes and how to choose the right chocolate cake in the market. Watch that video, it's currently airing on the channel. And I referenced just in passing my own chocolate cake, and it literally caused a tsunami. People kept on saying, send me that recipe. So now I'm doing even better. I'm gonna show you on air how to make it, and we're starting right now. The key when making a cake or a product is making sure you have the right ingredients. But a lot of times when people record videos about baking, they don't tell you what are the really do or die ingredients, that you cannot go without those ingredients. And you sort of assume you sort of maybe need versions of them or need all of them. Let me tell you right now, for this ingredient list, you do or die need at least 2 items. The first one is extra virgin olive oil. Yeah, you heard me right. The next one is pure lemon extract. And the last one is this. This will be the do or die ingredient item. I want to make sure I got it on the camera so you see it really clearly. Again, I'm not being paid by the company to show you this product. This is the do or die ingredient that you must have. Okay, so what's going on here? When you make, let me back up. When you normally make a chocolate cake, you're adding the chocolate from a product, maybe chocolate chips, maybe chocolate square wedges. There's a lot of different ways to add the chocolate to a chocolate cake. The reason why this one works so well and is sugar-free is because of this product. If we just start with this product alone, this first ingredient, which is so critical, you understand that just this product, we are starting at no sodium, sugar-free, no fat, and almost no carbohydrates. So it is literally nothing. It is nothing on nothing. And it's pure deliciousness. So how can this possibly be equation? I have a lot of viewers who have those dietary concerns, and I like my products to be, my food at home to be the same. So we're going to start with understanding what this is. This is Hershey's Cocoa. It's 100% cocoa. It is a powder. It is like you go and buy baking powder, it's like you're buying a flour, like flour for scones or any type of flour. This is chocolate flour, but it's 100% cocoa. So what they've done is they've taken the cocoa and reduced it to a flour base. It is, if you shake it up, it literally is flour. Where do you get it? You get it on all your online retailers. They ship it to you. It's very, very cheap. How much do you need of it? I'm going to go over it in a second. So this one has 45 servings of a tablespoons in this container. So you get a sense. There's about 45 tablespoons in this container. And again, it's all pure. It's 100% cocoa is its only ingredient. That's the only ingredient, which means there's no sodium, no fat, almost no carbohydrates, and no cholesterol as well. All right, what are we going to start with? First, we're going to get our mixing bowl out, and you want to start with your basic flour. Now, this is how I'm going to keep it pure. You can take it wherever you want to take it, but I'm going to keep it very pure. I like to start with a pure white flour. Just a pure white flour. The white flour should be pure. I don't mean, cake flour. I just mean pure white flour. You want to use maybe a 2 to 3 ratio of that versus this. You can even go a little bit higher. You can go maybe to almost a 5 to 1 or a 4 to 2. The color of you're going to put the white flour in first. Then you're going to do this. And you're putting it based upon basically how much you're making. You could either be making 2 cakes or you could be making 3 cakes. I usually go off of making about 2 cakes. More about that second. So you're going to generally start with about maybe 3 cups of white flour and 1 cup of this. Now, you want to make more cakes, you take it up a notch. You then, once you got that in the mixing bowl, mix it together. Look at it. It should be into a light beige color. If it's dark brown like this, you have too much of this in there. If it's real pale, you don't have enough of it in there. All right, so that's your dries. Now, at this point, if you have a sodium issue, skip this step. I like just a little pinch of salt, just a little bit. You don't need much, but if you have a sodium issue, you can skip it. Totally can skip it. All right. Next, at this point, there are different ways you can add a few more dries based upon your likes and dislikes. I like my chocolate to be bounced off of another texture or another flavor. In the case of me, I like it to bounce off of a nut, some type of nut. Now, I know and you know that some nuts are bitter, so this is not a very sweet chocolate. So I don't want it to go bitter on top of bitter. I don't want to go too dark bitter. What have I done that's worked before? Believe it or not, Planters peanuts works beautifully opposite this, because Planters peanuts are not particularly that bitter. What doesn't work against this that well? Like an almond, it's too bitter. It's bitter on bitter. A walnut, good, but really sort of on the edge. So it's personal sentiment. I initially started this with walnuts, and then I also started with nuts. How much should you put in there? About a cup. About a cup. You want them crushed up. Don't make them like granulized, but just chopped up. Throw them in your dries. Okay, now mix your dries. You're still all on dries. At this point, you also want to bring in this key ingredient, which is the double-acting baking powder. Here's one that I really like. Let me make sure the camera is getting it in focus there. Maybe I'll go back a little more. Double-acting baking powder. I use a lot. I use like 3 times what any recipe usually says. So again, there's nothing in this. This is baking soda. So did I say baking powder? I use a lot. So I may use, if my mixing bowl looks. Let me get my hands on camera. If my mixing bowl is this big, I may use 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons. Where they say just use 1. 1 doesn't do anything, folks. If I'm making 2 pies, 2 chocolate cakes, then I need, in my mind, at least 2 tablespoons per cake. So that's why I take it up a notch. Now, this is why we're still on the dries. You really need to mix. There's nothing worse than just getting a nice bite of baking powder in the cake when you eat into it. Yeah, you need to mix this really well. All right, still in all our dries. That is it for our dries. Now we're going to bring in our liquids. The 3 liquids at issue here are your olive oil, your vanilla extract, your water, which you can also do with your milk, and anything else you want to take it in another realm. So I will allow you to sort of say, hey, if you want to take your liquid to bring it to another direction, try and be inventive. But I'm just starting with the basics. The olive oil is critical. Why is the olive oil critical? And how much olive oil are we talking about? We're talking about 3/4 to a cup of olive oil. Seriously, LALATE? Yeah. Now, as you know, most people would agree that extra virgin olive oil is healthy. That's the only thing I'm advocating for. Extra virgin olive oil is healthy. Reason why the olive oil works so well is, for some particular reason, the olive oil makes this very creamy and very decadent. I'm not particularly clear why, but when you add that olive oil in there, it makes it really like a decadent, how would you describe it? A very gooey, rich chocolate cake. I don't want to call it a mousse because it's not moussey enough. But it's not a cake in the and let me use the word cake very clearly. The consistency you're going to get when you're done with this is going to be a very moist, almost on the very, as a very, very light texture. You're not going to see it as a bread type cake. Remember that cake I featured on air a few weeks ago, where we cut into and look like cake flour. You're not going to get that consistency because of the olive oil. It's going to be very, very moist, so that when you cut yourself a slice that's this big, you're going to be done. You're going to be so satisfied. You're going to be like, boy, that was decadent. What was that? The olive oil really brings this up a notch. Now, if you had the nuts added in there, like the peanuts, and we'll go back to those nuts in a second, then at that point you'd be like, my goodness, that was overwhelming. That was overwhelming. This is something you're not going to buy in the store, because in the store they would never put that type of ingredient list in here. I think it costs them too much money, and it's too decadent for the stores, unless you went with a very, very expensive, $35 chocolate mousse type of thing. All right, back to our liquids. So on the incredible pure lemon extract, which you can get at like a Smarter Final, they generally come in very large containers. You want the pure vanilla extract. They come in like $2-3. And I use a lot of it. I may use maybe 3 tablespoons. You can gauge this one as well, because the lemon extract is in the same family of taste buds as this, so that you're sort of amplifying this, and then you're putting the extra virgin olive oil, and you're really putting it on fire. You're really amplifying the flavor sense. They're very in the same universe of sensory reaction. All right, and then finally for your liquids, this is up to you. You can just do it with water. I like just your general milk. You got to do it you got to do it slowly. You got to do it slowly. So don't just heave it in there and say, oh, what did I mess up? This, when you're adding your liquids, is all going slowly. You don't want to go the wrong way and then have to back up. So what should the texture be? When you're mixing it around, the texture needs to be more liquefied than cookie dough, more liquefied than a bun cake, almost as liquefied as a pancake mix. It's really very, very liquefied. You will see that when it's ready to spoon into or pour into where it's going to go, you're going to basically hold up the bowl and you're going to go like this to pour it in. You'd be like, it's going. It's going to be that liquidy. But it's going to be so grabbed on, almost like gooiness, that it's going to have a very gooey, smooth texture to it. Very gooey, smooth texture. It should not look like a lump. It should not look like cookie dough mix. It should be much more towards pancake mix, but not as watery as pancake mix. Because you put pancake mix in the frying pan, and that can only go to the edge of the other side of the frying pan in 10 seconds. Not as watery as pancake mix. Go by sense. All right, now let's go over to our pans. The pans, because of the pandemic, when the pandemic started hitting, millions of Americans were started baking more because they didn't want to go to the markets, and they wanted to bake it more at home, which is what I was doing as well. And they didn't want to buy products, and they wanted other activities during the lockdown. So a lot of the online retailers really ramped up with a lot of great baking products. I like baking trays where I can get 2 in the width of the oven. And especially in a recipe like this, I want to do 2 in the width of the oven. If I can't, then I'm really in trouble, because one's going to be on a rack above the other one, and it's going to cause some problems. There's 2 ways to do this. One is with an old aluminum foil type round tray that you may have bought a previous pie from at the market. You can reuse that one if it's a big one. Otherwise, you're going to use a square or rectangular stainless non-stick stainless steel type pan. And you want to prep it with olive oil. This, you can also prep it with a little bit of flour at the bottom. This should come out of the container very easily. But it is very gooey, so don't be surprised if it causes you some problems. Then once you pour it in there, you're going to see it basically levels out. Let's say the container is this thick. Then give yourself, maybe to 50%. It's going to rise. It's going to rise. It's going to rise unevenly in a great, beautiful way. So it may rise up and then break at the top and then have a little slit. That's the wonder of the baking powder. And it's just going to look beautiful when it comes out. Now, you want to put nuts on top of it, you can, but sometimes the nuts on top of it may burn during the baking process, which makes it confusing because then you smell burning nuts and then you open the oven, you're like, oh, it's burning. No, the nuts are burning, not the cake. I usually preheat ovens very high. I preheat ovens at like 500 or 450 so that that oven is hot, because a lot of these ovens are not regulated, even the most expensive ovens. You want that oven completely hot everywhere. Then I want to put it on the sort of the second to lowest shelf, and I wanted it like a 400, 375. You know, a lot of recipes demand the consumer to know how strong or weak your ovens are. And I've seen a lot of ovens where 375 is different than 375 on another oven. It would traditionally be somewhere between a 300 to about a 420, but it depends on your oven. This is a quick baking process, so it should not take more than 20 minutes. But I've had times when the oven did not heat up that well because it was the winter, and I had to stay in at 40 minutes. How do you know it's done? First, you're not going to be flipping it. So this is not a flippable dessert. You're going to be putting that knife in, putting the knife in, pulling it out, and it comes out clean. I'm going to say that again. Put the knife in, pull it out, it comes out clean, and there you go. A lot of ways you can ramp this up and take it a different notch, adding particular different types of nuts. Maybe you want to add some orange essence. Maybe you want to add some sort of candied essence on it. But I like this. When you serve it, it's just a slice. And boy, is it deliciousness. And with that, let me jump into the live chat and see some of your incredible comments. Wow, there's a lot of people in here. Uh, my goodness. Let's see. She's chocolate cake challenge. And there we go. My Lord. Let's see some of those comments. Everyone's talking about Patty's Mexican Table makes flourless chocolate cake for her husband. It's his favorite. Flourless chocolate cake. Now, the way, this is, sorry, wrong prop. This is really not a flour. This is actually ground cocoa, 100% ground cocoa. So in a way, this qualifies as flourless cake. But I think this would literally be too decadent. It was too decadent if we just stay with this. It's also sort of expensive because it's 45 servings at 45 tablespoons. So if you just made a cake out of only this, this would be the price point of the cake, and that, I think that's a little bit too much. But yeah, there is ways to just do a flourless chocolate across the board. Let's see. Here's Alita. Pecans or pistachios are my favorites, and or walnuts. I like that. Pistachios is a very interesting concept if they're sort of, ready and prepped. Pecans. I've tried pecans. Again, you got to be careful because some pecans bring you into the bitter range. And I have done this with walnuts. I've done this with pecans. Believe it or not, for some reason, the peanuts had the best flavoring one time when I did it because the peanuts are more on the sweet side, or at least that mixture of the peanuts that time were on the sweet side. So great comments as well. It never fails. Every time I come here, you guys make me hungry, says Alita. There you go. Let's see some more of the incredible comments. Wow, the comments are flying. My goodness. I can't even keep up with the comments. There is vanilla is what gives chocolate its very flavor. Oh, says Alita. She has some great comments today. So Alita's killing all the comments today. I'm going to try this. Sounds great. It says Barbara Nutting. Well, thank you, Barbara. Amy says that sounds awesome. And there is someone else saying, you're making me hungry. Of course, that's what the show does. And with that, if you just join me, let's recap. When early in this video, we went over stimulus and we went over different elements at issue. Covered more tonight on Afternoons LA and Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. We have the Build Back Better Act. Then we have CR for Stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0. 1.0 is inserting it into a budget bill. Two is the House bill that passed in the House, now in the Senate, an economic recovery bill that's small. Senators want to say they want to merge it with theirs, very bipartisan. Number four, the Russian sanctions bill. Then we have the president's opportunity to do SS 200 2.0, another version of it, where he raises your benefits up based upon removing COLA with inflation. He doesn't do it. He just encourages the Social Administrator to do it, and I believe he can get it done. Then repurposing existing money to send out that money to you. In the second half of this video, we went over what people have been asking for, which is my sugar-free chocolate cake recipe. To recap that, the key ingredients that you absolutely must have is extra virgin olive oil and this. This is, keep in focus there we go, Hershey's, this is Hershey's cocoa, 100% cocoa. Now, it is the 100%, it is nothing other than that. It's zero sodium, zero cholesterol, nearly no carbs, and zero fat. It's made 100% with cocoa. And because of that, it's great for people who have dietary concerns. This recipe, which I delivered on this channel today, is literally zero everything for you across the board. If you want to add a little bit of pinch of salt and your diet can tolerate a little bit of salt, then you can. You want to, in your dries, start with probably about 3 cups of your all-purpose white flour, then 1 cup of this. Modify it based upon how you want the texture to be. Don't go overkill on this. This is not a recipe where this is the lead ingredient. This is what brings it to that element. Then in your dries, you also want to add your baking soda, or excuse me, baking powder. I use a lot. So for 2 cakes, I would do double it. So I use almost sometimes 4 tablespoons of baking powder. Add a little bit of pinch of salt. Then also if you're dries, you may want to add your nuts, but be careful that your nuts are not too bitter because we're starting with a very overwhelming flavor in the chocolate. In our liquids, we add in there the extra virgin olive oil, nearly 3/4 of a cup, because this is what really brings it up a notch. Your pure vanilla extract, which you get from Smart Final. I use a lot of it, 3, 4, 5 tablespoons, a lot of it. And then for your remaining liquids, you can use milk. You can do strange things. You can use lemon juice if you want. You can invent a lot of different things and play around with what you think you're gonna like. Then should not cook that long. Should cook about 20 to 40 minutes, somewhere in the 350 to 425, depending on the heat of your oven. Keep it on the lower shelf or next to lower shelf. Put your fork in there and pull it out once it comes in, or knife, once it comes out dry, take it out of the oven. You can let it dry out a little bit. Do not let it burn on the top because of the nuts. That's one of the issues at hand. And with that, thank you for all your incredible comments. Boy, it was a full room, and who knew that chocolate cake does this? And there is Anne says, "I'm gonna go make this right now." So I think we got a winner. And Alita says, "Use pink Himalayan salt. Look goes a long way for flavor." Wow, she has some great comments in there as well. Stay informed, stay focused. Join me next on 1 o'clock Afternoons LA. This video will automatically take you there. Then we have a brand new Afternoons LA at 3, and then a brand new Evenings LA at 5. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day, and stay with LA for more.